ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵੇਸ ਦੇ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਤੋਂ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਅੱਜ ਇਸ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੁਖਾਤਿਬ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਲਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਬੜੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਾਕਫੀਅਤ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ। ਪਿਛਲੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 20 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਰੀ ਨੇ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਚੱਲ ਕੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਈ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਬਕਾ ਮੇਅਰ ਡਗ ਮਕਲਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਜ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਵੀ। जी आशना जी।
बिल्कुल दीदी, आज बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि मीडिया वेव टीवी पर आज पहली बार हमारे फॉर्मर मेयर डग मकलम हमारे साथ शामिल होने जा रहे हैं और बातचीत करेंगे। वैसे सरी का ये नया शुरुआत है मीडिया वेव टीवी, और इस शुरुआत में सरी के लिए जितना ज़्यादा काम किए हैं वो है हमारे फॉर्मर मेयर डग मकलम। और मुझे याद है आज भी 20 साल पहले जब मैं सरी में आई शुड से आई वॉज इन माई टीन एज डेज, और उस वक्त से हमें पता है कि लोग कहते थे अगर कुछ कराना है सरी में, कुछ बेहतर सीनरीज या बेहतर कुछ यहाँ के डेवलपमेंट्स करवाना है तो मेयर डग मकलम्स के आइडियाज़, उसके व्यूज़, उनके डिज़ाइंस, ये सारे जानना बहुत ज़रूरी है क्योंकि वो पैदा ही हुआ है सरी सुधारने के लिए। सो लेट्स वेलकम आवर फॉर्मर मेयर डग मकलम। वेलकम टू आवर स्टूडियोज।
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here with Media Waves TV. I'm impressed. I'm excited to be here. So,
well, the reason Media Wave TV came into media is because we want to cover most of Surrey. Anything happening in Surrey, and Mayor, you probably walked up the stairs and you saw what the construction 80th Avenue. You were actually the mayor when this project started.
yes, I was, and I'm glad to see it's up and running. It's super.
Yes. And there are many other projects which you have actually brought to Surrey, and I'm talking about the last 20 years, the development you have done in Surrey. Surrey listeners knows that very well, that anything for betterment, if it was in Surrey, it was Mayor Dug McCallum. What would you like to say to Surrey listeners today?
I'd just like to say, I just actually got back from a trip to Europe. I saw 15 cities in 12 days. And I was impressed with all the cities and over in Europe. But you know what? Surrey is far better than all of those cities. We have such natural beauty here, and even natural beauty in all of the people that live in Surrey, the multicultural nature of our city, which the European cities actually don't have as much as Surrey does. And when I come back to Surrey and I see all of the physical beauty of Surrey. We're on the ocean. I was out yesterday afternoon paddleboarding at Crescent Beach. I've been at Bear Creek Park and so forth with stadiums. I've been at field hockey games in the last couple of days. The parks that Surrey has are just unbelievable. And we're a city of families. That's the biggest thing that I have noticed in my travels when I come back to Surrey. And when we're a city of families, we need to build the infrastructure for those cities. And we still have a way to go. That's why I'm so excited when I come to Surrey, because there's still a lot to do in the infrastructure. We need more playing fields for our kids. We need community centers for our kids. We at one time we wanted to feel a lot safer, but now we have our Surrey Police Service, and it's up and running, and we'll be fully with them in about 1 year, which is terrific. And they're out there now with our own police cars, and people are really excited.
Yes, actually that's what I was going to come to. Regarding public safety in Surrey, there was a time before 2018 when there were so many things going around and people came over to you and they were talking to you about public safety of Surrey. And that was something that you brought in when you became the mayor again in 2018. And there were community leaders who came up to you and talked to you about public safety. Was it really difficult to bring SPS?
Yeah, it was difficult to change a whole police force. We did it. If you add one more year to that, we did it in 6 years. That's really unheard of, to do a complete change of police force in 6 years. But we worked hard. The community wanted it, and so we brought it in. Since they've been in and have the officers out there, and we have our own police cars out there now, the community is unbelievable in welcoming them, and it's the type of police that we want to be proactive. In other words, get out in front of the crime so that the crime doesn't work. And when I was in Europe and talked to a few mayors of the cities I visited over there, they were really interested in our concept of our police. They had heard that Surrey was getting a new police service, even over there, because it's huge change.
Right.
And doing it from scratch is even harder. But we did it. Everybody pulled together, everybody worked together, but especially the community was so strong in supporting it and wanting to do it and work with it. And now as I travel around Surrey, we see our Surrey police. They stop in our communities. I was at a field hockey game the other day. There was 3 of them that came out and talked to people in the crowds and everything. At Crescent Beach, which is a part of Surrey, we've never had police down there, never. And now we have 2 or 3 patrols a day that go by, but it's not patrolling for it. They go out in their cars and they stop and talk to people on the streets or on the beach or so forth. They're part of our community. And that's how we're going to get our community safer, to have the police part of our community. Most of them live in Surrey, and so they bring their own families up in Surrey. And the other big thing is once they join, they're going to stay for their whole life probably. That's their career, to be in Surrey Police Service for their whole career instead of moving out every 2 years and so forth. So I think it's really exciting. And even today, they're making a big difference in our city as they come up to full complement within a year.
That's great. A lot of people actually, I myself would like to thank you for that. We really needed our own police force with above 600,000 population here. We do needed our own police force, and thank you so much from the community that you have. You were part of 99% part of getting this done for us.
Well, I couldn't ever do it alone. We had a team that did it, but more than that, it's the citizens that did it. They're the ones that wanted it. They worked with us. They supported us to get it done, and now they're supporting the Surrey Police Service. So it's a true safety thing that our community is going to be a lot safer with them.
Great. And all those big buildings which we are seeing in Surrey Central, we used to say that part of the city was something that was so dirty. People didn't want to buy houses or properties in that part of the city. But now everybody's moving towards that Surrey Central, and looks great. I should say Surrey looks better than downtown these days. That too came when you were you were Surrey's mayor. You want to tell us a little bit about these developments?
Yeah, I've lived in Surrey for 50 years, and I've always heard people say it. I always wanted to have a city center,
right.
A part of Surrey that we could say is the core of our city, and with businesses and people living and so forth, a real mixture. And we've achieved that. I mean, if you go to our city center now, you see those high rises up there. Some of them are business, some of them are residents that people live in. Others is we put I was directly involved in bringing Simon Fraser University to our city center.
Right.
So we brought a thing, and I was directly involved in just a number of years ago that we're going to bring UBC into our city center. So we brought the education part to it, the business part, the residential, and then we've now adding recreation parts to it. And community centers and pools, and we want to build those over the next few years. And so it will be a complete city center that people can come to. What's happening as you build that, then restaurants start coming, and you get theaters that will come, and you can come in. not only that, building SkyTrain, it stopped in the old part of Surrey in Whalley there, but now they're starting construction, and we did that also, bringing the SkyTrain all the way to Langley, and it's
Right.
going to go right through the center of our
Exactly.
city center.
Yeah.
So not only will it be good for Surrey, it'll be good for the whole region, and in fact, probably good for all of Metro, because if you take all of Metro together, Surrey's in the center of all of Metro, and so that's where our city center is.
When we talk about the community here, as you were a great mayor in 2018, you came here and we got so many changes done. Our public safety was taken care of, and many other problems we had in Surrey were kind of resolved. And even the projects which you have passed are actually becoming completed now. One thing I'd like to ask you, which is a question public always ask me. We've had many oppositions in the municipal government, but you guys are very active, Save Surrey Coalition. You guys have been, even though there were some seats which were lost and you lost your seat, but you're very active in the community. How do you plan to, how do you manage to do that?
Well, because I do it because I love Surrey. I've lived here all my life. I love the people. I love the city. I think it's got huge potential. You know, I'd like to see Surrey start to show the world how we can live in peace and how we can have all our cultures work together and enjoy each other and learn from each other. I think that's one of the big problems in the world. When I came back from this trip where I traveled, you know, you have to be a good listener, and you got to listen to all the different people from all over the world and the different cultures. I want to make Surrey a city that everybody wants to live in, wants to visit if they want to just visit it. And I think we have a way to go, but boy, I think there's huge potential. Surrey is very fortunate. It's one of the fastest growing cities in Canada, but it has geographically a huge area. And one of the things that's not talked a lot about in Surrey that people love when you tell them about it is a third of our land base is farming.
Yes.
And farming is going to be so important in food production in the thing. And I'm working right now with a number of people that are farmers that have bought 1 and 2 and 3 acre plots of land in our farming area, and I'm encouraging them to grow vegetables or to grow corn. I could give examples, but I won't right now. But people are listening and they're doing that, and I think that's a huge potential. Name me any other city, literally in the world, that a third of their land base is agriculture and they start producing their own food.
Right.
I think that's got a huge opportunity, and again, we can learn from people all over the world of how to grow those things. So I think our potential is really unlimited, and I'm really excited. I mean, I have never felt better. I have never felt more energized to get working to improve Surrey, especially in those areas I talked about, and also in the infrastructure. We do have to build a lot more infrastructure in Surrey.
Well, that is great, and I always look at the press releases which Save Surrey Coalition does. Our Councillor Mandeep Nagra and Councillor Doug Alford are quite active. They listen to the community. They want to know what the community wants. I guess a good leader will always train people good. Is there any chances that you will be coming back as a mayor in Surrey?
I figured that question was coming sometime. I'll be upfront, and you're the first to hear this.
Yes.
I'm seriously thinking of it, yes.
Great.
I get asked 15 times a day, and I'm not exaggerating, 15 times a day to please come back. You know, and they recognize that if I come back, then I probably would only stay for 1 term, maybe 2 terms at the most. But they want Surrey. Surrey right now in the last few years has sort of leveled off, and they're in this current council, and we have 2 great councillors. I mean, Mandeep and Doug are really, really good counselors.
Working really hard.
Working really, really hard for the community. But they miss us because we don't have the team, and so we don't have the votes there to
Right.
get things done. And the city, to be honest with you, is come to a grinding halt. Development's just about non-existent now. There's not a lot of community centers. We were going to build a huge community center, one of the best in Canada in Newton. That hasn't started. In fact, they've even moved from the site that was going to be done. So this council, at least except for our two councillors, has taken Surrey backwards and has come to a grinding halt. And we have so much potential. So people say, we want to move on. We are a great city. We want to here. We need the facilities. So they're after me all the time to run, like a lot every day. And I'm thinking serious. I feel good. I took the trip to Europe just to look at other cities and so forth, and I see so much potential in Surrey. So it's sort of given me the energy and the drive to maybe look at running. And it's only about a year and a half away, so yeah.
Yes, so that's great news you have given us today to our
Yeah.
listeners. It's not only you people are approaching, they are approaching us as a media to ask this question to Doug McCallum or talk to him to come back. We want the vision he had for Surrey to flourish.
Yeah.
So that's something that our Surrey residents will be great to hear this news. And again, I would say that you have done so much for Surrey, and the vision you had for Surrey, we want that to be completed.
Yes.
We want work to be done. And if it was not you, we wouldn't have the SkyTrain going all the way to Langley.
Exactly.
If it was not you, we wouldn't have our SPS. I mean, there was a point in my personal life, we had an incident in our family where the mother was so upset after her son died on the streets. And every day she was actually putting a plate on the table for the son to eat, whereas the son was not there. So people were just like, wanted SPS done. And I'm so thankful that you could be part of that and you did that. There was a point where we kind of lost hope. Oh my God, is even SPS going to come?
Right. Yeah.
Because there was kind of a halt from the opposition and things were going haywire. And then I'm like, what are we going to do if we don't have our own police?
Right, yeah.
So it is you, and I really want to thank you today. We're sitting here today, and my people who are with us, who are always here, we all were worried at a point that whether SPS is going to come or not.
Right.
But thank you so much.
Oh, you're
You
welcome.
did it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's for the people of Surrey, so yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
there is no doubt, sir, that whatever the decision you made in the past, they were solid,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. There was no turning point. Decision made is, promise made is promise kept.
Right.
You've been on the fence on the both sides,
Yeah.
mayor or not mayor.
Yeah.
Your work is commendable.
Yeah.
Where do you see the city going into the future?
I think Surrey is, of all the cities, and again, I said I just got back from visiting 15 cities in Europe. In my opinion, and I've traveled a lot in my life in the corporate world before I got into politics, all over Asia and South America. And I think Surrey has one of the greatest potentials of any city anywhere in the world. And I truly say it not because I've lived here all my life, but because it's got its natural beauty and its location, its history. I mean, Surrey started as a logging company, a long time ago. And look where it's come now. And, it's, when you look at the history, one thing I would like to do is, for example, plant maybe 1,000 trees a year, so that we build that forest back up again. And it's easy to do. We bought the city when I was mayor. We bought a big nursery out in the east part of Surrey from the provincial government. We could grow and get the trees growing there and then start planting them. That's an idea I want to get going on right away. But we bring the history in to the current day, and that's what this city's so great for, is that we can do these things. I talked about farming, and there has long-time farming experience here, long-time farmers here, new farmers here. And we have the land to do that too. We still have lots of land to develop and so forth. We can densify because we're putting SkyTrain right through the middle of Surrey, basically. And along that SkyTrain, we're going to develop high rises and put the density in there, in along the transit, so that people can move around and so forth. And we have all this potential still to build our great city and make it a great city to live in. And so I just think there's so much potential. And, you know, you got to have leaders to do it, that have a vision. And don't have a vision just to get elected or just to do this, but a vision to get it done. And that's what's really, you know, if you look at politicians around the world, there's not a lot that, well, they'll say things. Yeah. They never build it. They'll say it 5 years from now, oh yeah, we're going to do it again to get elected again.
They find the same thing.
I'm not one of those. If I say I'm going to do it, boy, it's going to be in the ground.
Mr. McCallum, there have been opportunities just sitting right in front of you. We have our provincial election coming in October this year. Then we have our federal election. There must have been approaches coming up to you to run for provincial or federal election. But we haven't heard anything that you probably would be doing that, but your focus was only to Surrey. That shows that politicians who are passionate, they would pass that and stay for Surrey. And I'm very proud of you that... And you can't say that you were not being approached. I know.
I know. Yeah,
many people would have approached for provincial election, for federal election, but your passion for Surrey continued, and you made it very clear that you're gonna be politician only in Surrey. Why so much love for Surrey?
Well, you're right. I've been approached both federally and provincially. Very strongly, I would say, very strongly. But I do have a passion for Surrey. Right now, I don't belong to a political party. I have not belonged for one for 20 years, for the very reason is I want to help Surrey. And when you have to help a city, you have to work with other levels of government. And so I've always been nonpartisan as far as politics is concerned. I can work with the left, I can work with the right, and I've done that my pretty well whole life. And and it's because I love Surrey. Right. And I want to see Surrey grow. I want to see Surrey have the facilities as part of that growth. But I think above all, and I ran into it the other day when they asked me to go to a swim meet and swim at Crescent Beach and swim on a relay that's made up of 4 generations. Wow. And my family's 4 generations of living in Surrey. And it all of a sudden dawned on me that I'd love Surrey. And so I have basically said no to the other areas because I just want to work to improve Surrey and so forth. So I'm dedicated. I love Surrey. I love the people in Surrey, and I want to do and help wherever I can in Surrey, not get involved in provincial, non-federal. At the same time, I want to also work with the federal and provincial and tell them they need to put money into Surrey to help Surrey. And so I can do that because I got the money for SkyTrain, for example, which was a lot of money.
Very tough job.
And a tough job to get it, but I got it. And so I want to continue to do that for Surrey.
Great. Is there anything else you want to let our listeners know?
No, I just want to say on Media Waves that when you talk about the press and so forth, Cities are made up of fabrics, and I've often said this in my speech, that those fabrics have all these threads in it that hold the city together.
Right.
And the press is one of those. And Media Waves over the years has done such a good job of getting the issues out there and talking to people, especially on the issues and so forth. And it's a very important thing that any city needs, is to have that strong thread of press that works in the community, understands the community, and works to solve some of the problems, or at the same time give out the positive things that are happening in that city to other cities.
Well, thank
So
you.
I want to thank Media Waves for the years to do this, and on your new venture too.
Thank you so much, Mr. McCallum, and you have always been part of the community, whether it's your interest or not, but you always heard the community. Our seniors have told us that it was always a pleasure. Whenever we wanted help from him, he was always there, whether it was at the park or whether it was at the city hall or it was somewhere you could just sit and have a cup of coffee with you. So that's something that we really appreciate, that you do listen to everybody, and as a leader, you know exactly how to make decisions on it. And being in such a busy schedule, you came out to meet us today and give us a little interview for residents of Surrey. That was great. Thank you so much, and we are looking forward to see you back at the City Council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.